ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL Pro League. We're going to be taking a brief respite in between our two series of games tonight, just to give you a bit of an update on the scores and start to set the scene for our second series. First of all, if you have been watching and you didn't get to see what's happening off stream, it was a very interesting game between NIP and Heroic. Ultimately, a 2-0 for Heroic, and NIP starting off a little bit weak, went 11-16 in favour to Heroic on train, and then a capitulation from the Swedish squad. Heroic all over him, 16-7, and newcomer Nico really starting to make some tracks after joining from Tricked Esport. Guys, another set of matches you might be interested in watching also is the Mountain Dew League. Basically, Mountain Dew League is giving amateurs a direct path into the CSGO Pro League. So check out esea.net/MDL for all your information, and also just so you can keep up with the action happening there, the up-and-comers here in towards CS. And of course, guys, we are keeping the discussion rolling on our social media channels. The poll right now, as it stands, is about this new mouz Sports lineup. Will they succeed? Will Oscar be what they needed, of course? Making a few changes to the roster now with Chris J out. We'll have to see if they can make that stick. Facebook.com/ESLCS or @ESLCS on Twitter. The next map is going to be Astralis versus mouz Sports on Mirage, and we'll finish the night again with Nuke. So to prepare yourself for the second coming of Nuke, our own observer Rush has made a little bit of a pro tip video on how to get some smokes down on the T side of Nuke.
You like Nuke? No? Well, here's a common warehouse smoke for you anyway. The lineups for this are nice and easy. It's fairly common, AWPers should play from this spot, and this smoke should push them away and force them to relocate. Position yourself over this corner and aim slightly above the metal fixture, and then toss the smoke. Easy, now you removed one of the 45 different angles that CTs can kill you from.
There we are, our beautiful observer Rush giving you some pro tips. Turns out you can smoke.
Turns out you can be killed from 45 different angles.
He's done the math.
He's
Counted it. I might cameo in some of them throughout the
I
season.
think you should. I think you should. I still love that there is 500,000 views on a 12-second pop flash.
I'm going to translate that really quickly. Chad's actually saying, I'm going to take over from Rushley and do a better job at some point this season.
Yeah, well, you should introduce him as well. Matt's joining us now on the desk for our next showdown, and Chad, of course, still sticking around as well. Hey, do you like my spinner?
You saw it from Taco.
Basically, I saw Taco playing with it on the major stage, and I was like, I want one of these.
You said I was going to get to try that last cast.
You not try? Oh, we should. Oh, we're too late.
Tomorrow.
I'll give it to one of Mitchell Pansy, but it's very therapeutic. I recommend to anyone that fiddles all the time.
I really like that color on Matt.
Yeah?
This maroon? I've always liked maroon on me. It's true. My next suit, when I buy one, don't really buy suits anymore. It's going to be maroon.
Okay. Maybe get a nice pocket square to go with it.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm out of money.
Yeah, something about a car or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well,
don't know why I did that.
We don't play with
crashed.
cars. We play with mice.
Oh, we were both going for a segue there. I like yours more.
I actually just think the car's German, and we've got a German organization to talk about.
That works as well.
There we go. Yes, indeed. mouz Sports is our first port of call. They're going up against Astralis. We've already seen them perform as well as talked about them, but mouz Sports are an intriguing beast. They have made a roster swap after a very intimidating and rather poor performance over at the Major. We'll start with their Major performance. Matt, you were there in Atlanta. You witnessed it. Disappointing doesn't quite summarize.
I think their disappointment was quite apparent as well, as I think we're going to discuss here and look at the aftermath of some of the situations. But no, there was no question. They were underwhelming. We weren't even sure that they were going to make it into the Major. When they made it through the qualifiers, we were expecting a little bit of regrouping from them. We always expect Nico to step up, and inconsistencies everywhere for them overall.
Yeah, I mean, looking at their results, they picked up a win versus Hellraisers, a loss to Fnatic. All around, not looking great. A 16-4 versus Liquid. no less.
And
in
Liquid
that
hasn't been
stage.
looking ideal. Yeah, here you go. Here's some of the... I'll let you go through these. But
Well, I mean, yeah, you have Spiddy there, head in hands. In fact, his tweet afterwards, want to go to sleep and wake up in 1 month or so right now. Sorry for this. And now this is funny. This is actually quite funny. Chris J saying, flying home with an extra bad feeling, but I'm sure things will look bright after a while. Following that, we saw an announcement, I think it was 2 days afterwards, from mouzsports saying that Oscar has returned to the active roster and will replace Chris J. Of course, it's more Schadenfreude, but we are in Cologne. We're laughing at the misfortune of others as just 2 days after feeling that bad feeling.
Chris did say it was an indefinite amount of time, that after a while he could feel better, so good luck.
Yeah, I mean, so Chris J removed, Oscar back in. The story here, Chad, is that Oscar has been in this roster before, and it was not necessarily the most understandable of breakups in the first place.
I think, it wasn't actually disclosed what the issue was, but I would say he probably didn't like what was going on in the team. There's probably a lot of clashes. I could say Nico gets a bit fiery. But what happened with it, it kind of just came out of nowhere, right? Everyone was like, what happened with Oscar? He's meant to be the star, and he just disappeared from the roster. To see him back in here with basically the same team doesn't make much sense to me, and I can't really see too much success coming from it.
I remember there being a great deal of hype, Matt, about Oscar. I remember the likes of Thorin, the likes of us here at the desk saying Oscar has that kind of that simple feel to him. That the player that can make this individual play. He comes from FPL, starts dropping off heads. Yeah. And then we kind of just disappeared off everyone's radar as he departed from mouz.
Yeah, came over from Hellraisers as well, which interestingly enough, we thought he would be indispensable and hard to replace. They pick up Dead Fox, who out of nowhere has been playing really well for them, so it's not like he had a home to go back to. I think there was some other issues on the team. I was fortunate enough to visit one of their boot camps last year in Cologne, just sit in with them, talk with Christian, who was managing them. He's now managing Big, but managing them at the time. And it was very obvious that during that boot camp, a lot of people were talking. There was a lot of rage, which I felt very unnecessary for a boot camp in specific. You're there to work on things. It's one thing to get upset about it, but the rage was carrying on for several rounds. But even during all of that, the positives, the lows, there was one man that wasn't talking, and that was Oscar. He was very quiet throughout the course of that entire boot camp. I was there for about 3 to 4 hours, and I think I heard him talk about 3 times. So I knew that there was already issues in that sense, and then it was revealed that he wasn't putting in enough time, wasn't practicing. It just seemed like he wasn't ready to commit to being a full-time pro on a team that was willing to give him more support than Hellraisers had. So bringing him back to me was very surprising. Now, I don't know the contractual situation. Maybe he had a contract and therefore was the only one available. And I thought maybe Chris made the decision. That would make the most sense, right? Why would you elect to bring back a player that was struggling for you? But I'm not 100% sure that was true either, because I saw some of Chris's tweets afterwards, and it seemed like, I have no plans. I don't know where I'm going. You would have thought if he was leaving on his own, he had a plan, right? So this is a very confusing roster move for me.
I think mouzsports perhaps are going to be a little confused in this gameplay as well. Going up against Astralis, Chad, it's not the easiest of opponents. Defending major champions as your first game in the Pro League, and potentially even your first game with Oscar in an official environment. That's going to be scary, right?
Well, they're playing Nuke as well, and we just saw what Astralis did to Navi on Nuke. So you come into this pretty scared. There's not a lot you can do, especially with like a new roster, right? You don't have depth at this point. Adding a new player, they have a lot to change. There's a lot of things, especially on a map like Nuke. It's still new in the map pool, the way that's being adapted to. Unless they can have like a really great star performance from Nico and Oscar, who just go off and they're killing everything. They're going to struggle because they're not going to have, the depth they need. And
we talked about Astralis' performance on Nuke. We also have to talk about Astralis' performance at City Hall. Yes, indeed. They headed over to the City Hall of Copenhagen. And this was most likely in an Audi. And now this was actually today, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
Yes. So today they were hanging out at the hall, grabbing some dinner.
It's been a busy day.
And feeling like celebrities, local celebrities. This is the same way Olympic gold medalists are treated. So just to see them coming home with a major trophy and being respected like that,
the 2 gold medalists they have?
There's a couple.
Okay.
And it still counts. It's just kind of crazy to me that we're at a stage now where you can go to an esports tournament and go and get recognized by your home city, your national pride must definitely be flowing a little more than normal.
Yeah, I think I've heard it happen a couple of times in the past, especially like being in the news.
I feel like Scandinavia are the kind of first adopters of something like that.
Well, there was the McNib burger in
Sweden.
So.
Yeah. And I think actually to be true, Denmark, it was Sweden or Denmark. I think it was Denmark that was the first place to put an esports education system together.
They did.
At high school level.
Oh, damn.
So.
Well, Astralis no doubt feeling like local celebrities, and now they have to give a celebrity-worthy performance versus mouzsports. Now I'm seeing Mirage. Is that the that's going to be the first map?
The first one's Mirage. I was already thinking, for the old Nuke match.
I'm really intrigued by the presence of LMBT and Chris J there. I'm assuming that's incorrect.
Well, unless
LMBT is a coach.
Yeah, we haven't seen any official announcements on that, so I'm assuming that's going to be Oscar.
The roster, as far as I'm aware, is Oscar, Nico, Spiddy, Dennis, and Lau.
Yes, and somebody has put Lowell in their fantasy
He plays
draft.
for Tyler.
I have. No, not. I get what you did there, but no, I put Lowell in. See, the problem is though that Astralis already lost one game. They're playing against Astralis, so no matter what, I'm gonna have a loser on my team. And then I put Forrest in from Nip, who now just lost 2 games, so I've lost there already. They go up against mouz sports tomorrow, so no matter what, one of my players is losing there. So it might be Sadokist Sexy Samurais is more like Sadokist Sad Samurais.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. And that's, of course, the fantasy. We've not been told in any way to promote this any more than just once, but we are.
No, this is going to be a heated battle all year.
We are, like, absurdly already into this.
Sorry, I'm going to give you guys a head start.
Yeah.
But like on the topic of predictions.
Fantasy.eslgaming.com.
Okay, nice one. This is the new something.
Wait, sorry, I just
website that
totally.
you plug. Yeah. Anyway,
Carry on.
you didn't ruin my point. I was going to say the website, but yeah, we don't need to say them anymore. Spitty and Dennis, what are they doing in this roster still? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I see you've started the fiery discussion after. I mean, can you remember Spitty's performance? You know the one he said he wants to go to sleep for a month?
I mean,
Matt?
I want to go to sleep for a month all the time and wake up. That's just normal in my life.
It's just so to be serious, this
But his
team
stats
shouldn't
were
be
poor.
German anymore. You know, they should kind of move away from that. They have a Spaniard, a Serb.
Bosnian.
Yeah.
Bosnian, not a Serb. Yeah,
Oh,
you
my
think
bad.
that way with the support YNK gives him. Yeah, no, for sure. No, he's Bosnian, and yeah, you're right. They've got a lot of different. Obviously, Oscar coming in is Slovakian as well. Czech or Slovakian?
I think he's Czech.
Is he Czech? I can't remember.
I see his flag. Czech.
Yeah, So anyway, the point is
Lots of
coming into this.
guesswork,
There's lots of guess. Look, I think of the two, I think Speedy has had. He's had the more shocking performances. He's more of the bottom end performances. But I think Dennis, because of the way the consistency works within the team, when he has a bad performance, it seems like he's a little more toxic within them. Inevitably, I think both of them, if they really want to make this team good, need to either step up massively or one of the two has to leave in a relatively quick manner.
Yes, so this is the thing which is interesting. We were talking about the Chris J thing and him getting replaced. Why are they replacing Chris J when he was more than happy just to rifle when they had Oscar in the team before, right? And he was still doing better than the others.
There is the one thing I will say, and you're right, Chris does have to go onto the rifle. Now it makes a little more sense because Oscar takes the op. You still have designated riflers. But talking to them at that boot camp that I was at also, they said the transition period was a little bit tough in after plant situations where Chris's awareness was very different on the rifle. He wasn't quite adapting into situations of understanding how to play closer angles, understanding when to peek. He still wanted to get that aggressive shot in as if he had the op. So it did seem good, and I'm sure the stats were there, but they said in situational performances he wasn't really up to speed with it. So I don't know if it was a comfort thing or what.
The team's just a mess. I think that's the way to put it.
It is a mess. I thought Hellraisers was the team that was dying the fastest. I think these guys could be in worse position.
It's kind of crazy. The discussion that has to be had when we address mouz for the first time here in the Pro League is, of course, something that always gets brought up, and that's, of course, the Nico situation. Now, a lot of people have always regarded Nico as one of, if not the best player in the world. I feel like on a mechanical level, on an individual basis, he is up there with the very best. However, he finds himself locked to this group, this gaggle of players. Has his performance dipped recently? Because I feel like it's been a long time since we started talking about the Nico show, a long time since we started getting hyped about Nico pulling mouz sports through rounds. It seems to have we've lost that flair that was pulling him and his team through.
So mentality would probably play a huge role in the way that he's going to approach the game and stuff. But not only that, as the in-game leader, and early on, he was able to just make him, like he was able to call around himself, right, to get these kills and basically base the team around himself. But now that he's probably has to diversify in the way he calls to try and bring his teammates into it. And that's going to see a dip in his performance because he has to think more as the in-game leader, and he also has to be able to still focus on his game, which it's hard to do.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things that go beyond that in terms of mentality. I think when he started in-game leading, he was calling a team that was based around him, and he realized that was only going to take them so far. The other part of it is how do you stay motivated for that long? How do you say that, I don't know why we're still in chat. You are very pretty. It's been on you for a long time. It was almost distracting me. But how do you say that I'm going to carry them every single game? Because you said we had to rely on that. Now, one thing is very clear. It's impossible that one player is going to be at that level forever. And the second is, how do you wake up every day and say, oh, I have to perform like that again? Eventually, I'm going to go, guys, like, step up. I can't do this forever.
I mean, we know how demoralizing that is. A prime example from the major was Magisk boy. I keep wanting to call him Magisk.
Magisk now.
Magisk, excuse me. He's no longer a boy. He's become a man. But when he, I think he dropped 30 or 29 in one half, proceeded to lose it at the major. And I have never seen so much emotion in that boy. It was, man. he pulled his shirt, immediately pulled his gaming shirt over his face, and just that. I mean, if you think from a human perspective, when you put on a performance that you've never done before, no one has ever done before, and you continue to concede that loss, it's a taste of what Nico gets on a relatively regular basis.
That's a conflicting feeling too, because you want to be so
well,
happy with yourself, but yet it's not enough. And in a major quarterfinal, yeah, that was a bitter pill for him to swallow.
No doubt. Now, talking of swallowing, I'll be introducing your casters in just a moment. But first, I would like to know what you guys are thinking prediction-wise. mousesports Astralis, you've already dogged on at mousesports for a while. Chad?
I think Astralis will definitely take this map.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't, barring another Nico-esque performance with somehow Oscar showing up in like the finest form we've ever you know, thought of from him, I don't see them beating Astralis on this map. Mirage has always been good for Astralis. So it's Mirage and Astralis who have no doubt going into this one as favorites. They've already picked up 1 versus Navi, and now they're looking to go ahead and get 3 under their belt in the coming 2 maps. Mirage is up first, and now your casters are ready. Locked and loaded, headsets on. It's time for Mirage with mousesports and none other than Astralis.
Yes, thank you very much, Alex. It's going to be an interesting one. I'm here with Lauren. Of course, I am Uber, if you're not able to put the voice to the name. And an interesting one here, I mean, they said it on the desk, mouse are a mess. Even Spitty now is actually moving into a calling role, which doesn't even really talk about that much, under the supervision of LMBT and of course, Nico. So I don't really know what that looks like in practice, but an interesting change nonetheless.
Yeah, this to me is just waiting to see what happens with this strange experiment of a team at the moment. It seems very, very curious how it works out. I'm hoping the best for them. Again, I think Oscar had so much potential, but everyone saw that massive dip in performance, that very awkward break he had at the end of his, I guess, tenure with mousesports. So I'm hoping they kind of fix that up and it gets swapped around a little bit and it maybe recovers. But I don't think Astralis is the team that they're going to find that against. A team that's just taken down Navi on Nuke, for example, isn't looking likely to lose out to mousesports. But then again, there is the outlier of Nico, right? So let's see what he can do.
Astralis, fresh, fine, ready to shine, but it's going to be mousesports on the T side here, and all 5 found their way through apartments, putting pressure on Dupree. He's able to take the head off of Nico essentially straight away. 2-for-1 trade for Astralis over on the site now, and they will just keep their distance.
Yep, and I was about to say, look at the positioning from Astralis. 2 players by Cat, Glaive already pushing up. Decent positions, but actually mousesports fighting their way out of it. Nice little bit of work. But Kirby going to find Oscar's head, and now it's down to this 2v2.
Hole and Spitty both with kills apiece now. Bomb down on Device needs to get a little bit closer to the action here. He does spot Spitty. Spitty takes so much damage behind Truck, and now the 1v1, at least Lowell's able to make good on the other side. Kirby down, Device pushing in now. Lowell just trying to duck under some of these shots, but he's got to back away on reload. Device now has to do the same. It's 22 HP, and it's going to be enough for Device to get that pistol down and try and go for this defuse and get it done.
That round. Every time, it just terrifies me watching Speedy, right? Because he was holding the cross then pretty much, basically playing in the other player.
That was his angle to watch.
It was, and then you just see him in these situations, and I just want him to do well, but so far, you know, Astralis win the round, but they did get the bomb plant from mousesports, so it's not the worst in the world. They get what they wanted, I guess, out of that one. If you know, in the situation they were in, it's not the worst outcome. At least they got that as a little bit of a buffer. This round going to forego pretty much almost everything. Maybe a little bit of an investment, nades, maybe a smoke, something very like you want that 3rd round coming in.
Yeah, just flash in mid here. Nico being caught by that one. Smoke now does bloom in the middle of the map. Nico will use that just to try and lob a HE straight forward. Glaive, though, send one of his own. Doesn't quite connect, and Glaive just getting a sense that Oscar is over towards the underpass, who is trying to get some shots on mid-window. Device will challenge, take a bit of damage, but get the frag ultimately.
Yeah, Astralis having 3 players basically staring down mid is going to work out pretty well for them against Glocks. The P250's been lost to the range element, just removed. Yeah, the P250's not awful at range, you can challenge, but the UMP's cleaning things up, really good for the UMPs to be getting the money going for themselves as well. Whoever's been picking those up, so Zipnik's there doing well for himself, and Glaive going to make a little bit more money. Always good to get themselves robust, but they know they're going to come against a rifle round now. Maybe limited, you know, in the fact that you're not going to get your full molly set, but still, it's a decent buy here, and you can never take it too lightly, but the UMPs are strong. It's a huge discussion point at the moment, so they're going to have 3 of those still up, with a buffer of money to support as well. Astralis is going to go into this one looking to make the opportunities happen for themselves, but Spitty quickly out towards mid, going to spot at least 1 player dropping in towards underpass. Pretty sure he caught a glimpse of Dupree then, not sure about Device though.
Mid to B focus for Astralis right now, and mousesports trying to set up in the middle of the map here. Smokes thrown into mid-window.
Look at Device and Dupree. They are all the way around the back. Oscar's got a really good idea in mind by watching this, but I'm not sure if he's completely aware of where they could be. Dupree's already falling back from this, but Kirby getting the first is important. That's removed such I guess, an integral man from mousesports. If you're going to pick anyone up at the start of a round, you want it to be Nico, right? So again, down to 4 now for mousesports. They've only got 1 smoke, so that's going to limit them as to what they want to do. You see a lot of teams fall back to the A hits when they're down to 4 men on the T side, but now how are they going to make that happen?
Interesting lurk A for Nico, actually, because I believe he pushed out of Palace on his own and was caught by Kirby. Maybe just the fact that he'd done a little bit of damage there to that single player was enough for mousesports now to want to turn their attention towards A. Correctly so, Astralis are focused towards B for them here, but Kirby will be lying in wait, and there will be reinforcements hot on their heels.
Yeah, Zipnik's probably going to just rush around towards CT, I can imagine, trying to get there in time to help out Kirby, maybe to face towards ramp, because they're about to step out from it. Speedy's going to catch and rotate. Spots out Dupree, but that's going to give as much information back towards Device, who'll pick up the frag at top mid, but the A-hit's going to come in. A nicely timed flash going to slow this down again. They've got the full picture now, Astralis. They just have to get the kills, but mousesports is still deadly. Those AKs are going to go to work, but Kirby's position does pay off finding Dennis. Device comes in, and now Lowell left in a 1v3. Position surely to be checked on, and there it is. Already Kirby checks it, Zipnix comes through, and Astralis don't allow it to get too far.
And Kirby had no need to show his face, actually, after mousesports started tickling over on that A side. In fact, he waited until which point, I think it was Lowell actually challenged Connector before he even showed himself, and a comfortable 3-round buffer here for Astralis. Mousesports having previously been on gun. Now, Deagles, and we're going to have a 1 HE for Speedy.
And good stuff for Astralis, considering they had those 3 UMPs left as well. They've upgraded everything. They got a couple of AKs away from it. Their money's going to be really robust in those nades. Oscar.
Oh, you're never going to win that.
Not fun times. I don't know. Nico, we've seen Nico do this with Deagle, so I'm not going to say anything at this point with this man. But Dupree's just going to be peeking over towards the absent. He's confident. He's going for these shots. He's taking a lot of damage. Time to back away. Leave Zipnix to be a little bit more of a closer man towards that point, as already Nico's found 1. And we know what happens when Nico finds 1. Normally there's a second to follow. So again, 1 minute and 20 on the board, plenty of time, and they're just going to go for frags. There's nothing else to be done. I doubt they're going to be able to pull a round out of this. Couple of kills here and there. You're going to get a good, maybe a plant out of it, but with the amount of utility on the CT side, this round doesn't look like it can go towards mousesports unless Nico does the unthinkable.
Nico now freed from the shackles of having to dictate his team's movements here, may be able to think for himself again after so long. Now it's going to be a peak from T-Ramp, ever so slow. Didn't quite catch Glaive on the jump across. May have just seen something. Yeah, and there's the jump. He knows he's there. Nico trying to close the distance a little bit and get it a bit closer. Flash is going to send him completely white now, as he's going to be stuck out from the rest of his team there, trying to back him up. But Glaive sitting at Firebox here. Knows there's a few more players to follow. Nice little trade there. Lol gets on towards Glaive, but again, eventually, mousesports will have to stand and deliver as Kirby closes the net.
Yeah, I want to start looking at the money as well. Look, 10k already on Device, straight up on the AWP. Really nice position for him. 7k set on Zipnix, 7 on Kirby. The other side, though, this is a really good buy. We saw the first buy that they had actually coming through being a little bit lacking of the utility.
Smokes,
yeah, and once they'd done their first kind of foray into the round, it subsided. They didn't have anything to fall back on. So hopefully now we get to see what mousesports can bring. They need this round, otherwise Astralis, they're going to be so confident they'll take kind of liberties here and there. And Device is known for doing it anyway. So maybe a little bit of a peek towards B, have a little bit of a look, gain that early information, try and find someone ideally. But we'll see if Lowell walks into this. Device again. Deep molly, gonna allow himself to push further up. There it is, and there it goes. Lowell gets picked up in a second, and the early advantage straight towards Astralis.
And who knows if we're gonna see another late A rotate here from mousesports. So they're running out of options there. That was at the A lurk, and Nico picked up by Kirby for the second time in 4 rounds. Smoke in mid allows Dennis to get up a little bit closer, but there's no information to be gained right now.
And I just love the positioning of Astralis right now. They've got 3 players directly challenging towards mid almost. You've got Zipnix playing from ladder room, you've got Device on short, you've got Kirby just backing away from Connector actually, and Dupree's there as well. Glaive's going walkabouts towards Palace, so mousesports are kind of left in their own trap here, but there's still a chance. They've still got a smoke. They've got 2 smokes actually and a molly, so they can try and cut off one of these, but they're going to give away everything. And the bomb's still at the top of mid, so they're going to have to go back, get it, give away positions. Kirby gets actually pretty much tagged up here, so he has to back away from this now. So a small avenue of approach being created here for mousesports, but it is a slim one. They've got to get themselves on the board pretty soon.
Dupree's still in mid-window here, so he would have got a lot of information from Kirby earlier on, but not enough to peek blindly, of course. That's a bit risky. Dennis, though, bit of risky business of his own. He gets up in the face of Dupree, gets the frag. Kirby now forced back into CT. No backup for Glaive for the moment.
But it's all Glaive. Timing is his best friend at this point. The bomb has to go down, and now Glaive's going to take the fight. He actually misses the opportunity perfectly there, and now actually Oscar's been given a little bit of freedom. Timing is of the essence, though. 17 seconds left, and Dennis is trying to just buy time, allow for that bomb to go down, so now the time's in their favor. And this 2v3 actually isn't impossible for Mouse. It's just tricky.
Glaive just skirting the flames here, trying to get a bit more information as Device and Kirby do converge on A. Bomb's ticking. Both Dennis and Oscar are quite low, but a lot of Astralis as well. Not a lot of HP between them either. Now is the push. Dennis finds Device. He was already low. Glaive's still healthy, and he does manage to peek out and get Dennis now. It's the 1-2. It's going to be Oscar versus Kirby. Kirby has a kit. Needs to defuse pretty darn soon. Now the fake. And Oscar just around the corner knows just when he needs to peek here. This should be pretty straightforward. No time for Kirby. Not going to go for a second there as well. Going to abscond pretty quickly. Try and grab the AWP. And Oscar not going to challenge there from CT. Still going to die, though. No gun for the man.
Got to say, considering the position mousesports were in, they looked like they were locked to mid. They looked like they couldn't find a way out. They actually fought their way through that. They defined their own path towards A, got the bomb plant. I thought that Glaive could have turned that all around. Such a good position to be in. Doesn't manage to do much more than he did, but really well played in the end. It was Dennis, if I'm not mistaken, to be the one to really kind of lead the fray for them. So mousesports find that window, finally getting the utility behind them, finally getting a bit done, and Astralis respond with a bit of aggression. Why just quickly switch up the pace? Dupree's the one to take that straight in, but a great flash now. KOB, what a perfect bit of timing to support Dupree there. If he was out there alone, he'd have been done for. So they do keep the man alive. And now 5v4, Mouse looking for the response. A quick hit towards A, and it's not a bad idea. Astralis are locked off by that connector area, by jungle. Bit of a team flash coming out, catching them all off, but the bomb goes down regardless. And we're going to see another possibly good round here for mousesports if they can keep this under control.
All smokes out, but it's not going to be working so well here for mousesports. Having to back away. Bomb is down at the very least, but through the smoke, Kirby and Device. Kirby continuing his performance, of course, MVP of the E-League Major, no less. Continuing the trend here, and Astralis are going to give mousesports just a little bit of a glimpse, a glimmer of hope, and then snatch it back away.
That was such a poised retake from Astralis as well. I thought that maybe mousesports kept 3 alive then. They could have maybe held some way to keep Astralis back, but just really good composure from Astralis to be able to come back in there and take that one through. And Device having a good game already. A nice, a little bit of a confidence boost for him, I guess. Going into this in case he needs it. I don't think he does, but it's going to set mousesports back. That's the big problem now. They are getting plants, which, you know, at least keeps them relatively in the game, so it's not the worst thing in the world. But eventually, it doesn't really matter about the plants. You just need rounds on the board. And, you know, 5-1, it's not the worst thing in the world, but a little bit of damage would be good. Try and keep the CT's monies down, but at this point, it's, you know, shooting fish in a barrel unless someone gets going with that deagle.
Again, Device, they're trying to facilitate something into mid. mousesports, maybe a distraction, but Device just mows them down one after another. It is going to be the hit squad, and Kirby helps him combine. Now you can maybe see why those scores are so padded. And Nico, again, questioning so many things, especially as to why he is now sat around, again, playing that A lurk, but again, getting very little for it. Nico trying to make something happen in that role, but the rest of his team crumbles. There's not a lot you can do.
Yep. I feel we're going to be saying that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, here's an AWP, though, at least coming up here for mousesports. So something a little bit different, perhaps. It's probably the first time this game they've had one in their hands.
And Device doesn't have one. Perfect. He could have gone for it. Chooses no. Just going to stick on the M4. So why not? See how he feels. If the game's working out fine, if you're on 6-1 at the moment, you don't feel the need to start picking up the AWP. Don't bother with it. To be fair, it used to be Carrigan who used to AWP a hell of a lot as well back in the day on this map. It wasn't necessarily always him. And oh, what an absolute beating. But Oscar, you're burning alive. The barbecue begins, and Xyp9x will be the chef of that one. But in the meantime, mousesports have claimed more kills. So again, you're left in this kind of 4v3. They've got a good step towards B here. And they're actually going to take that chance. The bomb is with LOL, so that's the important factor. He's moving in for this one, and Astralis are going to have to respond eventually.
Early B presence this time, paying off for mousesports, but Astralis have read this from day dot in this game. The double nade definitely gives away a hell of a lot there as Oscar was cut down to a very small size. And again, Nico in mid, just trying to maybe get some control for his team, get some more info, but Device will shut him down. And now Astralis getting some real estate. Xyp9x may have overextended slightly here. There's no one here to help him, and Device and Glaive are a long way away from this one here. This is going to allow mousesports to plant. It's going to allow them to set up in a 3v2.
Let's look at this up. So Dennis is like first port of call towards Kitchen, I guess, and then Glaive's on the long way around, so Spitty's kind of his opponent. Dennis catches Device off, so now all eyes towards Glaive. Gonna play out, try and show presence like he's coming from short. They're not really falling for this, surely. Now, Glaive, what are you gonna do here? Nothing. There we go. No, yeah. Glaive knows there's limited options. If he can maybe get guns away, perfect. That'll do for him. Not going to be pulling off the 1v3 in this sort of spot here, kind of a little bit too far beyond what he wants to go for. So a nice position, though, for exits, as both players might be walking this way.
They might have an opportunity to peek up here as well, or a Molotov to keep himself alive. Either way, hello, Speedy going low. Needs to be careful. Smoke quickly to extinguish that one. Glaive would want to be careful about trying to follow up on this one. But interesting there from Xyp9x, you know, his aggression on that B site when he was essentially in a 1v3 and the rest of his team were over at A there may have cost Astralis a little bit in terms of their setup, because initially Xyp9x was backing away from that B site. He smoked apartments, then walked to mid. He must have walked back there and for some reason decided to challenge on his own.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. My eyes are completely drawn towards Oscar here. I want to see how well he does. Astralis, it seems every time they get a bit of either a round loss or a close round, they just go straight back to this aggression to keep mousesports almost constantly guessing. And it's Xyp9x this time. Last time we saw it being Device. We've seen dupreeh do it. We've seen everyone basically off spawn, it seems like, playing this one out. Lol this time caught by the flash. Hello? Hello? dupreeh, there we go. Does get the kill. I was a little bit worried then as to where he'd gone to, but he does get the job done. But in the meantime, how has Dennis been able to walk out on A? Astralis clearly not spotting ramps. They allowed a little bit of room for movement, but the trades come through. So it evens back out to a good situation for Astralis. But mousesports do have the bomb site, but not the bomb. So Dennis and Nico need to just secure areas. Try and find safety here somewhere and allow Spitty to get himself towards that site.
Preemptive moves here towards mid now. They kind of had a feeling Kirby was going to try and get boosted up there. Nade thrown. That's going to be a hole in one. Dennis managed to get Kirby on that one now, and it's a 3v2 situation. Dennis with yet another one, and it's just dupreeh on his own. Back in towards CT here. No angle, as the smoke obscures his view entirely.
Guess the best defense is, you know, good offense, get in their face, get the kills, why not? And now it's going to force dupreeh to back away. He's got no option, and he's being hunted by Dennis. There we go, mousesports back in this one, and Dennis this time. 4 kills for him, and important kills at that.
Bit of a variation this time. Generally what we're seeing from mousesports early round is either, you know, stacking me with 3 players or trying to set up in mid. This time that solo lurk of Nico's actually was backed up there by Dennis, so perhaps took the A players, especially Kirby, by surprise. Either way, they managed to get a hell of a long way in towards A before the Astralis could really set up and deal with that.
All right, Oscar's good. He had a decent spawn towards me. I wonder if he's just going to charge it. And if you're mousesports, you've got to be aware that this aggression's been a factor, and they're going to use that utility now. Molly's in towards Connector. Keep them humble, keep them further away. And Oscar's been allowed a little bit of time here to try and find dupreeh over at B. Doesn't get it done. A little bit of a, you know, kind of, I guess, a little bit of a trade out of damage coming through in mid. You've got Spitty down there and Glaive as well, exchanging things out. But at the end of the day, mousesports, again, looking to build a little through mid. You've still got LOL towards apps. And Astralis just need to sit back. They've got limited, I guess, limited-ish utility in comparison to what they've had before. Only 2 kits as well. So, you know, it's not the most perfect buy in the world, but it's perfectly fine. You just need to be a little bit cautious with it. So again, you can see them just taking their time on this. Still have a couple of smokes, couple of mollies, couple of flashes to put out to stop that T hit. And it looks like, at this point at least, mousesports are really posturing towards A. You've got 4 players here, LOL in towards app, so 3 ramp, 1 toward Palace, and then Spitty just holding that mid play, trying to keep their attention, cost them on the rotate. Kirby and Device might miss time, this bit of aggression they want to play through mid, because here comes that A hit. Dennis not in the front, it's Oscar trying to peek through towards CT. They've left it open. They want him to get that shot, but Glaive's not giving him a single thing, and Device waits on the edge of that smoke.
LOL. Just through the screen there. Obviously inside Palace now. Got a challenge down. Device having to back away. Bullets coming through the smoke there. He's left with only 39 points of health. A quick flash off the back wall there, but no peek to try and capitalize. The bomb very quickly down, and mousesports have already left the scene.
5-on-5 retake. This is a treat. I like this. But now Xyp9x beats Spitty in mids, and now the retake can really begin. They found that kind of, I guess, unknown quantity. They don't know that yet, but the mollies can come in and start clearing out the corners, but Nico stands tall, but he takes a lot of damage. But time is ticking.
Smoke now in towards Palace. Now LOL has to make a decision. Does he push forward or does he wait? At this stage, mousesports can sit back on their laurels. 2 players left for Astralis. LOL going to try and go forward and get the rest of them. dupreeh caught a little bit too slow to try and escape. And Nico, knife in hand. So was Device though. And Nico had the quicker fingers ultimately there as well. No one left standing for Astralis, and mousesports mounting a comeback. 3 in a row.
And it's broken the money of Astralis. Finally, they can get maybe P250s, a Deagle, the Xyp9x can do something, but it is limited. At last, it's going to come through for them. Spitty knows that, straight onto the UMP, wants to go farming. Good choice as well. That gun can certainly do some work, whether it be against pistols or not.
Farming Simulator is very popular in Germany, I'll have you know.
It is. It really
like
is.
A
it's like the #1
game.
Fantastic. Way to live up to the stereotypes. It's just brilliant. But yeah, Astralis, I want to see them try and do something with this. I don't want them, you know, playing out default kind of. It doesn't excite me as much as seeing them trying to make something happen when they have limited amounts of work with. Oscar though, going to be toyed with over by B, but doesn't find the opponent, but he gets the info. And Glaive trying to make something happen there, but LOL very aware. Just waiting, pretty much. You've got Nico doing the same towards Palace. You've got Oscar and Dennis over by B doing the same thing. Just waiting to see if Astralis were going to try and do something a little bit quirky. And they're just, you know, try and fend them off, get the picks, and just deny it.
Not terrible from Glaive, considering that mousesports often rotate back to A after an attempt at B, as they've done probably 6 rounds or so. So trying to get in there early could have been helpful. But now Astralis going to back away a little bit more. Kirby in a position up here. Going to be mollied out. No, actually drops down to the lower side, actually. Kirby can stay safe for now. dupreeh quickly coming in towards CT now. They know what's going on. No one's checked this corner, though. Kirby in a perfect position to get 2 kills. The headshot on towards Nico cuts mousesports down to 3. Gets himself an AK to boot.
dupreeh's in the smoke as well. He's right on site with them, but I don't understand this round. How is this a 2v2? You've got Device and Kiebi alive. Dennis is on the site. He's just kind of petrified of every single angle, sprays his way out. Kiebi does fall. That's the big man down, and now Device falls too. Thankfully, mousesports keep control of that just. But those sort of rounds terrify me. There was such a limited investment from Astralis, and yet they still almost make something happen. Not checking on the little balcony ledge by Palace. They did molly lower. They just didn't expect on sat there. And obviously with the USPS, I guess you get away with a little bit more because you don't, you know, you've got a silenced USP. That's the point. But still,
it's
6-5.
It's crazy the amount of confidence that the false confidence can give you if you are sort of molling out lower dark and not checking that corner. Sometimes you can't check every corner, but that was a perfect situation there now. Run boost into mid. Oscar checking window. No one waiting for him now. 2 players towards connector though. And Oscar will have the peak. Takes down Kiebi early on. 1 player down. Glaive going to fall elsewhere on the map. That was Dennis finding him over at A. And mousesports are getting more traction on this particular site. Dennis has already pushed very, very deep now. Mouse have control, but the bomb is in mid in the hands of Oscar still.
Oscar's starting to come alive, and this is what we wanted to see from him as well. He can create plays, and this is a good map for him to do it on as well. And the other man I was about to highlight is Dennis. Both of these two sides are really starting to fire up. Dennis earlier on, you saw him get, I think it was a 4K or something of the such, but it has left Xyp9x all very much alone here as he's been at the kind of mercy of mousesports, and there's little mercy to be shown. So mousesports probably going to take that bomb into away there. I can imagine you know where Xyp9x generally plays. He is a B player as such. He has been playing up on Cat pretty recently. And yeah, found in the end by LoL, very much aware of it. Bomb down. And Dennis and Oscar are the 2 names, to me, that are standing out so far.
Dennis was 0-0-4.
Yep.
Went to 3 and 5 in the next round, and then from there on out, he's been consistently making an impact over the map. Very important. In Kiebi and Device, no surprise to see them continuing to sort of be up the top here, but the pause is going to come in here, and a pause for thought is probably exactly what Astralis need now. With, you know, middling money here, have to decide whether they just sort of get a little bit of utility, maybe something to work with and wait for a decent buy, or go for it here. Already 13th round of the round, of the half though, so too much time to be wasted here. This is Oscar in mid earlier on.
That was Oscar.
That was Dennis, yeah, pushing out here. So what we're talking about now, this A lurk that Nico was trying to make happen, now Dennis is pushing.
And it's really nicely timed though. You pull the attention pretty much in polar positions. You get someone playing through mid, you start to pull the player's CT attention towards it, and then you get the play through Palace. It's just really nicely timed. I don't know how much work mousesports have been able to put in yet towards these sort of maps and how much practice they've had, as these lineup changes are still pretty recent. Obviously just the major happened, and that's where Chris J kind of fell at the wayside. But mousesports were always that one with the question mark, weren't they? They're always the one who's like, if everything works out, if this player turns up, if Spiddy, you know, can find something to do here, blah, blah, blah. There's always been those if, buts, and maybes. But if it does start happening, they're an interesting lineup to watch. But so far, a good T-side coming out from them. 6-6 is very respectable. If they get the pistol in the second half, that'd be looking even better because they really make that scoreline look a little more robust. But for now, we've got to see if Oscar can keep this trend up. And yes, he can. Dupree goes. And for him, we know he's a confidence-based player as well. He takes this to heart. He's one of those players that will suffer if he doesn't play well. He gets very in his own head about it. So for him, perfect start. Now Xyp9x will wait patiently and does find one. Oscar's sights will not be moved, but then they will do some damage, and Xyp9x can't get away though. Device will find his way there. And now the 3v3 is looking a little bit more dangerous. Kiebi finds Nico, and how is this coming to this sort of situation? 2v2 again. A little bit of armor and pistols this time, so a little bit of a different situation.
Oh, there is 1-for-1 trades worth fortuitous there for Astralis, but eventually Spiddy is able to shut it down there. A little bit dicey for mousesports, but again, now getting themselves into the lead for the first time in the game, and with halftime looming in a pretty strong T-side for them. Oscar is up to 12 and 8 here as well. And you often see players like Spiddy will stick with Oscar over on that B side there as well. Often 2 players early to B, just to make sure that Oscar, you know, just can't be jumped on. At least they can secure a trade at B and then back away and make a rotate if they have to.
Look at this hit. Mouse have kind of set this marker, I guess, that they like to go B. They like to use mid, and then they've just gone, all right, screw it. Let's
first
just
round, all game
flip it over.
this.
Yeah, exactly. This is the first time, and it's just, this is very, very brave as well. They're going in, I guess, dry is the best way to put it. Not exactly beautifully said, but it is exactly that. Now mousesports back away. 4 players in Palace. Nico kind of just holding around T-spawn. Very weird round.
Well, they could have used some moisture there, Lauren. I'll be honest with you. Now they have to back away. So, I mean, that's probably just a cursory Molotov from Astralis there over towards A. Very standard stuff. And they still don't necessarily know that mousesports are sort of going for that hit. Normally, the player in apartments for Astralis can sort of spot a player if he doesn't fall down, but very limited information has been gained by the CT side thus far. Flash mid, Device on the corner, ready to take it, loll down, bomb falls loose into the middle. So Oscar now has the challenge to retrieve.
Now Dennis splitting in through underpass as well, going to try and get connected control just before that smoke dissipates. If it wasn't there, he'd be dead. So now he gets a little bit of a peek towards A, and Kiebi playing that close corner. The Goblin boxes are now up onto the fence we go. Speedy there could have taken himself through, but no, if anything, kind of baits out Oscar's position as he hops down, but Dennis refrags. Important stuff now, as we are into 3 players remaining. Dennis is a good step towards A. You've got the play coming through from ramp, but Kiebi could still change his, but he's burning alive. 36 HP. What is going on? Nico's down the car from ramp, an easy kill for him. This is a 2v3 that's very possible.
Glaive now does need to be careful. Mollied back away from Firebox now. It's going to be Dupree and Device playing through mid here. So Glaive needs to hold his own for now. No, he gets taken down by Nico. Now mousesports can turn their sights towards the middle of the map, and they'll do just that. Flash, going to leave Nico white, but it's enough to get the spray down on Device, and he makes it too. The headshot into Dupree, securing yet another round for mousesports. Dennis had a very early step on A. You mentioned that. He was close towards to jungle, taken down by Kirby, but still mousesports had enough to secure that site.
I can imagine it's incredibly frustrating for Astralis to lose rounds like that when you have men advantages anywhere. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what the situation is. If you lose those, especially when you're on an even playing ground with like utility, everything's pretty much the same, and you lose it to 2 players or essentially 1, then Nico just went off. He just took the fights and he won them out, but good positioning from Dennis to allow it to happen. It's just annoying for Astralis. They'll be sat there just getting more and more frustrated. Kirby's going to take mid control, but it doesn't matter. Elsewhere on the map, we've got control coming in, and Oscar's giving us a show. 2 big kills. Dupree, Zipnik's gone. The B-side is theirs, and they know this. Dennis is going to push up towards Kitchen, try and get some control, but there's the problem. The big problem itself, not just Kievi, but the bomb right next to him. He's surely going to see the leg, but
Spitty got the jump.
Spitty got the jump on him. Good stuff, but his Glaive left in a 1v4. Near on impossible at this point with just the UMP in hand. Bomb now being securely taken over towards A, and I'm not going to have to eat my words just yet.
No, that's going to be the round. It's going to be 9-6 at the half here for mousesports. A huge comeback. They were very much lagging behind to begin with. It was 1-5 at one stage earlier on in the piece, and a good comeback here for, well, the ex-predominantly German side. Now we just need to stick a European flag up there for them. But on that note, it's been a good half for Oscar as well. Let's keep our eyes on him as we head into the second half soon. We'll see you then. Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here to our second match of the night to kick up Season 5 of the ESL Pro League. Astralis against mousesports here, and mousesports so far, so good. Definitely a lot of question marks over the changes they'd made recently, of course, with Chris J leaving. But it's been pretty darn good here for Oscar, stepping into this, well, not this new old position, I guess you could say.
Yeah, so far, I just want to see if mousesports can keep their composure. This is a huge matchup and a big round about to kick off here. Astralis now on the T side, they get to, I guess, in theory, dictate the pace. And I'm going to try not laugh at those floating arms that I keep seeing across the screen. They are absolutely fantastic. But a 3-2 split towards A, it seems. Kiebi, Device, and Glaive. But again, this could change up. Glaive, the only one with the utility so far. So he's the one to kind of set the piece. And there it is. So he's going to put that down towards jungle. Deny Nico a bit of a glimpse. And now Astralis going to make their play towards A. A big split here. But look at the amount of mousesport's presence. You've got 3 players on this site. And I know we don't have audio right now. Hopefully that's fixed up. But Astralis don't need audio either. They're just going to deck the people on the site. 3 players down and a bomb plant not yet to come in, but soon to be.
Yeah, Nico back in towards the middle of the map, and Spitty hoping for something here from CT. Unlikely it's going to be forthcoming there. Glaive just shuts things down on Nico very comfortably here, and Spitty may as well just get it over with. And there it is. USP shots not successful, and you got to love the investment into the molly. You know, in this first round, of course, Glaive straight in towards mid window gives 2 Astralis players the ability just to walk straight down mid and get a pincer set up on A early.
Yeah, it was just nice. Astralis seems to have a nice idea to approach it. And look at this buy, though. 4 rifles, 1 UMP. To be fair, UMP's a rifle in theory these days. It kind of feels like it, doesn't it?
May as well
but,
be.
Yeah, it's
the penetration value is very, very good.
And now Oscar down on towards the scout. We've got Deagles. We've got a bit of play to work with here. That almost looked like a shot was on, but it isn't to be. And now Nico's going to back away. Has a little bit of a foray towards mid, but there's nothing to be found. He gets info, though.
Yeah, Oscar has to completely leave mid-window there. Getting taken down to 58. No armor, no helmet to speak of there. Hoping for something. And then Nico finds it instead, though. Device to fall. I'll take the wind out of the sails for Astralis for a little while, but it won't be enough to win the round. And Dupree now is trying to, I guess, rouse a rabble over on the B side, but going to back away himself.
But Dupree seeing this might tell them to go A. And now Dennis is in a really interesting spot. He pushed Palace. He's going to hear Zipnix, and I'm not sure if he's going to expect the bomb there. He might do. It's not. The bomb's already with Kiebi. They're so tentative towards A, though. But Dennis can play into this nicely if he finds a way to position. Nico's watching towards the rat hole, just going to be spamming through. Nothing really coming from it. Oh. There's the Reddit clip, hello. But Dennis, yeah, good positioning. The timing's going to be interesting as well, because they won't be expecting it just yet. So he's going to take his time, have a little look, makes the most of it, just takes down Zipnix. He's denied the ramp presence now. They have to work out where the 3 remaining players for Astralis are, and it's a whole play towards mid almost. You've got Glaive by jungle, Kiebi by connector, and Dupree all the way in mid, and the bomb's for it too.
They're up on the site there as well, so a bit of a fake maybe to draw someone from Astralis out here. Doesn't really yield results. It does. Kiebi makes the peak, but quick trade for Dupree here makes it a 3v1, so it is all going to be on Dupree. Nico found Glaive in mid, and Oscar, again, he tried to use a scout early on the round, had to back away from window, but saves it for the last breath and does its job.
And just remember, Astralis had 4 AKs then and 1 UMP. So they won a massive purchase, and that's not worked out at all. So they got the bomb down at least. I guess that's something. But 2 rifles recovered, 1 UMP, not the best thing for Oscar, but he knows that he can go farming now. If you want to look at it that way, he can make more money off of this than if he had the rifle. So fine for them, and a brilliant turn for mousesports. That's going to put the game right back into the face of Astralis going, let's hope you've got another plan here, because we've got your number so far.
Yeah, just a reminder for viewers that are just joining us, the scores are not correct. In case you're wondering there as well, HLT, it's the ESEA client, I think they're just giving us a bit of a bum steer. So, it's going to be Kiebi off on towards short
stats,
here.
that is.
Yeah, individual stats. Scoreboard's fine, fam. All right, it is 10-7. Kiebi there makes short work of Nico, and it's a decent start here for Astralis after struggling to find a round in the last few.
Don't turn this one around. This is where I get confused with CS. It's just one of those games. There we go. Oscar takes away the rifle that was starting to creep towards the hands of Astralis, put it to use, but Device finds Dennis. What is going on here? Why are there 3 alive now rather than 5? What? How can this happen, guys?
No
please,
armor,
Dupree now
no
has
helmets.
B. There's no one at B either. Device finds another in connector. What is going on? And Zipnix in a really interesting spot. If he can bait out the last 2 players or just hold ground, this is curious. Again, Lol and Speedy might be walking into a bit of a tricky situation, because look at this. Speedy's going to check for it. Yeah, he is. Nicely done by Speedy. But still, the bomb's over at B, and this was a round they had almost nothing. A couple of upgraded pistols. This should not have happened.
Yeah, and the problem is that as easy it is for mousesports to take down these Astralis players. No armor, low health. They've both got deagles. Line them up, and you'll knock them down.
Just sat at bench.
just taking a
It's basically going to bait Dupree almost, or bait him in as such. So Glaive takes all the
1v1.
attention. No one expects another player to be there as such. So that's it. Oh, okay. Well, that can happen too, I guess. Yeah, Lol just bangs him out through the bench. It was such a nice theory, but you know, things in theory don't always work out in practice.
Oh my. Yeah, perhaps a little bit flimsier than we remember, but. And there's now just going to be a little bit of time bought for Spitty to
get an AK.
Find a bit of a nice weapon there as well. So may have been 1 bullet there. I'm not quite sure. Again, when you've got no armor and you're stacked up on top of each other, sometimes you get some weird interactions in CS. So We'll leave it down to that, but mousesports lead now by 4 rounds. They've really started to kick things up here. And bear in mind, Astralis did win the first round of this up, where they won that pistol, and they have not converted it. And that's not good to see here as well, especially what we saw from them previously against Na'Vi on Nuke.
Next point, Oscar's got an AWP. Not a scout this time, mid's a little bit scarier, and he's going to look for this fight as well. Spots out the molly going in towards Connector. He's smoked out though, but he's going to stick around a little bit for a little bit of time. He's got Nico watching Connector anyway, so he knows that it's relatively... It's safe enough for now. Good flash comes out. I'm not sure who that came from there from mousesports. Deep smoke towards Connector, going to isolate Nico, but Device, you better check for this. Oh my god, it's just timing now. There we go. Trades come in, but it's an awkward one at that. Now Device is connected control, and they look like they want to split towards B, but there's 3 players there for mousesports. You've got LOL, you've got Spiddy and Oscar. So Astralis just completely crashing in towards the sand here, like waves to the shore. There's nothing they can do to break into this.
The patience from Oscar is really good as well. He doesn't get anything in mid. He retreats and goes for a later round contribution, and he gets it. He goes over towards the B side, catches on towards short. Dupree finds something there. Spiddy is taken down, but the bomb is still out of the hands of Astralis. And Dupree doesn't even seem to be in the mood to look for it right now. Perhaps even establish some mid-control. Dennis is lurking over towards CT. Won't spot him. And now Dupree will have to go back and get that bomb. 43 seconds in the round. Zipnik's trying to hold position here in Connector and give at least some egress to this A side. Might be B is the option here.
Time is now a little bit of a problem. They've got 30 seconds now. Dennis is watching the cross, but Zipnik just goes in with, I think that was a smoke or a flash in hand. That's not good. Now Dennis doesn't need to take this fight. They know where he is. They've got 3 players to spare, and why not put Oscar to the task? He's certainly come up with a good so far. And there you go, another one on the board for mousesports, and they're looking very, very good here. And I want to see more from Oscar, as you said, and as you highlighted at the start of this round. Didn't get the great success through mid. It was smoked out, it was mollied out. Nothing you could really do at that point. He finds a more passive angle, waits for it, and leaves Astralis just enough rope to hang themselves.
I think, look, I mean, you're always pretty much going to get that mid-window smoked with a team that actually has a decent buy, right? So if you have some patience and don't try and ask for more than you maybe should get, you know, we see a lot of players go towards Connector trying to go for an early second peak, but that's beautiful stuff. Device caught Zipnik's even as well. Damage on towards him. That was over on A. And it's a very sad and sorry bunch of Astralis here, looking very low on health, lacking, well, utility at all, and not a lot of protection either. And that's what happens when you don't bring the right gear to the fight.
And Astralis just looking for anything they can get, but mousesports aren't giving away too much. I guess Dennis is the one who's looking for sort of fights here, and why not? You can. You're in a 5v3 against these pistols, and this time Astralis haven't had that. You know, there's that 1D coming in, there's that mid control really kind of in their faces. They're in a really nice spot. So mousesports just cleanly picking up this round. And getting these rounds clean is actually really important. It gets their money robust. It means that they don't get reset as easily. They've got a little bit more in the bank to play with than Kierby flashed into, and the knife's coming out. Kierby will punish Oscar for trying to go for that, but Spiddy's there to pick up the AWP at least, so Spiddy's found a good job for himself. Yeah,
exactly. Managing to get the one in his hands as well. And it could well have been lost, actually, especially with that Kierby being the last player there. So Oscar, hey, gotta be a little bit careful about those ones there. Would have hated to have had to rebought that one, and you wouldn't even have had the extra 1,500 for the knife. But mousesports in a very commanding position right now, and now Astralis hastily buy up with some AKs and a smattering of utility. A couple smokes here to work with, Molotovs, flashes as well. And Oscar yet again sets his vigil up in mid. But again, smoke will prevent him from any shots early.
I'm looking to see where Oscar goes this round as well. He's going to back away towards A, but we do see a set, what looks like a set piece towards B, but Kierby dominating mid so far. Nico going down is a nice piece of the puzzle working out for Astralis. He can quickly escape towards underpass and get towards B himself, because Lol and Spiddy are now going to be in trouble here, actually. Let's see if they can hold on to this one. Good positioning so far, chasing out Glaive. He's desperately going to look for him, and he finds him. This is brilliant from Lol. He's been able to isolate these players, and he punishes them for doing exactly what he wanted. And now Kierby left in a 1v3. He did the work already in mid. Now he's asked to do more, and he's given it a good crack at it, but not going to be able to find those 3 remainders, and mousesports take one step closer to closing map 1 out of, well, I guess these are best of 1, so this is a big pickup for them.
Absolutely, and if you're watching LoL in that round as well, you're probably thinking that's incredibly aggressive play. He's left his post, but Astralis had no idea that LoL had changed position. So not only did he manage to get the jump on that player on site, but also the rest of Astralis, who were already starting to pour out of apartments, had no idea where LoL was going to be. That set up the crossfire that allowed mousesports to really hold that down. Astralis lacking a bit of pace on that push there. We haven't seen a heck of a lot from it on the T side so far. A bit of a weird buy for them here. Kierby with all the utility, but again, trade early. Nico on towards Glaive there. Astralis with 3 towards A.
Yeah, Yeah, Oscar giving a little bit too much on his plate that time. Players pushing from Palace and ramp. You can't really just, you know, look at both angles, but Nico's dominating so far, and he continues to do so, as do Pre now. Do you really want to feed any more? Do you want to allow Nico the ace, or are you just going to try and find someone else to gift yourself to at this point? He's in a 1v3, and Nico's got the angle, and he's also got the ace. That's, I guess, another good reason why you don't want to walk towards this man.
And that's going to break you as Astralis as well. You make a gambit, you try and buy up as much as you can. Now that loss bonus is obviously ticking along. It's been 6 lost in a row from Astralis. This game was 6-6 in the first half. And Astralis have no choice now. They're staring into the abyss. It's time to buy up what they can and make something happen to keep themselves in this game.
Whether you can call it a honeymoon period or not, picking up a win against Astralis early in the season is great for mousesports. They need these sort of games beside them. And, you know, I don't like to call games early, but a 15-7 is looking pretty likely, especially with the CT side, unless someone really picks up the pace here. And they're looking for the response back to Device finding Dennis early, who's been playing pretty close around, trying to be attentive towards it, trying to get in control there. And Glaive going to take the fight towards Speedy and actually wins it out this time. Finally, Astralis bite back.
Yeah, and look, honestly, a little bit of that was served up to them by mousesports there. I like me some CT aggression, but Speedy was a long way forward, had the jump, and still didn't connect the shots now. So Lowell will make himself scarce, definitely for the rest of the round. It will be a matter of Astralis just spreading out a little bit now as well. And take a short breath. Definitely not a deep one here, as there's a long climb back for Astralis, but we have seen them get themselves out of situations like this before. This is online CS, though, and they've got another map to go afterwards. Maybe that's positive for them, but I'm sure they're not thinking about it yet. Mirage has never been a bad map for Astralis at all. In fact, quite to the contrary. This would definitely be a disappointing result for them.
Oh, Dupree, timing. No. Lol is just, if only you knew, but now Device is the one.
Oh, he's not ready for that either.
And there you go. There was a lot of players around. If he'd managed to survive, that would have been phenomenal, just by sheer luck alone, to be able to walk around them in time. But it has them a little bit back, but the money's still okay for mousesports. They can get the AWPs, they can get what they need in this. There's still good utility, there's no real issues yet. And now we're gonna have Device on the AWP as well. This is exciting to me. I want to see what he can bring to this. He's been a little bit muted, I guess, on the T side with the AWP. We haven't seen it too much. He's not really known for that massive Mirage presence, as we've seen other AWPers finding some really good success here, but we'll see what he can bring now to this round.
An AWP, something Device hasn't held much this game, like you already pointed out there. And Nico doesn't really care. He's ready to receive them in mid of the spray down. 2 players with guns are down. Nico takes him in mid. He's on 2 HP though now. Would love to get away with this one with his life, but Dupree is not going to allow that kind of gallantry to occur, at least. Now, Spitty in towards Connector now. A lot of information about where Astralis are positioned for mousesports to work on.
And Device has just given up the AWP. He's going to pick up the AK and back away from it. So feeling that they have better odds with it, he's going to have to back and get the bomb anyway. But
the audacity to spray down 2 in mid with guns
just
is
standing there with it is unbelievable. Now, Oscar's probably going to be time to help to read this plan. Surely it's going to be that A hit. He's already looking towards ramp. He's already got someone watching his Palace as well, so he can just train his eyes towards this. Hopefully someone gets his connector so he can stop worrying about that, because he's still a little nervous about it, but he's going to take the swing out. And he's going to have to take the time on this one now, because look, 57 HP, and well, the threats are being eliminated already. Dennis has found one, and they've got to know Device was close.
Astralis have 2 players, and they're putting, you know, all their eggs in the one basket, straight through T-ramp there as well. So many angles available for mousesports, and now Device to keep himself and his team in the game. Spray down doesn't quite connect. They're just ahead of Spitty above the brick stack and flash in. Now they're going to try and get the job done. It's mousesports to finish this one off. Molotov thrown down, a bit of damage on towards Spitty, but that's going to be it. Spitty takes down Device, and mousesports, their debut here in this season at least, is a victory over our previous major champions.
Honeymoon period or not, that is massive for mousesports, massive for Oscar, massive for their mentality to get into the right place. And if it transfers into the next map, this could be a great series.
Absolutely. Still, of course, 1 map to go. Nuke's going to be coming up next, but before that, we're going to pass it over to the desk and to break this interesting map down.
What a whirlwind adventure that was, both for players, casters, and viewers alike. I'm sure you guys sitting at home and seeing mousesports go down to a very early deficit, you thought, strap yourself in, here it is, this is what we were expecting, and then mousesports turn up to play. You close your eyes, blink, and you miss it, and mousesports have managed to level out that half and then actually take it in the end. Chad and Sadakist are joining me. Okay, let's try and process this. We saw Astralis not only beat Na'Vi, we've seen them win the major. They go up against a mousesports we expected very little of. In fact, I think we did nothing but criticize the mousesports roster.
I was very hard on them, and I'm still not sorry, but I'm slightly apologetic.
I mean, I thought you were Canadian. I thought that's all you do, right?
Justin Bieber's sorry enough for all of us.
How many times have you used that? That's a good one.
I haven't.
Wow, that's fresh. That's fresh out of the factory. That's good. That's Peng.
Yeah, so what do you say about that one?
Okay, brutal, savage, and wrecked. But I think what we need to understand here is that mouse sports have somehow hit the ground running with Oscar back in the roster.
It's been a really long day for Astralis. You know,
Sure.
they've been out, they've been seeing...
Yeah, superstars, celebrity status,
Exactly.
driving
They got food poisoning
Audis.
from the Danish government.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Sabotage.
Sabotage from Copenhagen HQ.
You know, there's still actually, what happens is they lose a round, and instead of going upset, they go, turn around, they go, major winners, and the trophy's just sitting behind them, and then they just play the next one, don't care.
But seriously, there was really good individual performances from all the players on mouse sports. They're all getting multi-frags. Whenever they needed it, they would suffer with the multi-frags on that CT side. Whenever they were, Astralis were hitting a bomb site, you know, we saw Laug there getting that, I think, was it 3 or 4K? It was good to see. But Mitch made a good point that we didn't bring up. The fact that in that little, was it a twit longer or whatever it was, when Nico said that they would be making Spitty the in-game leader, it looked like it took a bit of pressure off Nico, who was playing relatively well.
Yes, we saw 20 frags there from Nico on Mirage. Now, quick question for you, Matt, or for Chad, whoever can pick this one up. But Mouse Sports Mirage, was it like synonymous with success in the past?
It's synonymous for success with Nico in specific. Okay. I remember games when he would have 18 in the first half, and it wasn't that uncommon. So for him to only land on 20 is actually a fairly average game for him. He's capable of hitting 30s on this map in regularity. But again, the other part of that I mentioned was Oscar. He did step in better form than I expected. Yeah. And Astralis looked a little bit lost in certain situations that made it a lot easier for them. Now, normally Nico takes over mid-control single-handedly, and it used to be for Astralis it would carry in toward that window. Obviously, teams are smoking it differently. I think the mid-battle was kind of interesting because they got up catwalk a lot. Yeah. Didn't always take full advantage of it. It's obviously talking about mouse sports, but they got up there a lot, which meant that it was quite passive from Astralis, which probably cost them a little bit more than it should have.
We said at the start of that game, I think, like when we saw Astralis just going ham early, it was like, well, this one's over. And we
actually said that,
yeah, we almost missed it.
And then you left the room, came back, and it was different than that.
Very different. Yeah, so open and shut case you thought for Astralis, but it looks like Mouse Sports have managed to scrawl their name on that very case. Dennis, in fact, 180R to kick things off. We were just saying that Dennis and Spitty, where you at? Spitty in-game leading, and it looks like Dennis is doing the damage. But again,
at least Spitty has an excuse now for when he has poor performances, right?
That was my favorite thing as an in-game leader.
Yeah, what, you can just go, guys, I was leading.
I was calling the strats, guys.
Yeah, you pull a Sean Gayers. I like that.
Ouch.
No, it's not a jab. That's just that used to be.
He pulled a Chad. He already gave you the opportunity to say it, and you were nice.
That's just Chad. That he was often an in-game leader brought up when people would criticize and say, you know, why? And it would always be Sean Gayers was leading, and hence why he wasn't fragging. But we already just have classified that as an invalid excuse nowadays here on CS:GO. So next map is Nuke, and of course Astralis are going to be looking to prove their worth and actually do what they did versus Na'Vi. It's coming up after the break. Matt, you were casting that one. Astralis looking tight on Nuke?
I was casting the other one.
The game on Nuke.
Oh, I thought you meant the next one. I was like, I am like,
you
what?
casted Astralis.
I'm convinced, yeah, I think Astralis has proved, the Danish teams in general, all of them, Heroic as well, seem to be leading the way for Nuke meta right now. And Astralis showed good use of smokes. They also showed very good rotation CT side. A lot of teams are still lacking the rotation toward the secret.